Good morning, everybody. Happy Hump Day to you on this Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. I got all of your stories for your rush hour ride to work, and we really have it all today. We've got an update from Marjorie Taylor Greene as she continues to beef with the president. We have an update from the Candace Owens situation, and by situation, I mean everything she's lighting on fire. And we have an update coming to you from Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively. Let's dive into it. All these stories and more starts right now on The Rush. So yeah, that's right. Blake versus Justin trial delayed. We'll get into that in a second, but you ever have one of those stories that just makes you feel old? You know, you hear someone's birthday and you're like, they're how old? And that reminds you that you're just that much older. I feel that way about Michaela Maroney. She's literally just, I feel like, was in the Olympics, wasn't she? She was like a 15-year-old in the Olympics. Now she's 30. How does she age and I don't? No, I'm just kidding. Don't comment on my looks, folks. It's a cold one out there in New York. I tell you what, the wind has battered my face. It is like 20 degrees. I've aged 70 years. I look like Voldemort. Okay. Is that how you pronounce it? Who cares? Blake Lively's day in court delayed as Baldoni trial pushed. Judge recommends settlement for It Ends With Us stars bitter dispute. Will they settle? Well, we can discuss all day long, but who's going to admit fault, right? It's like jilted lovers, right? This is why lawyers make so much money in divorce court. They're always like, burn it all down. I want to make that man pay, you know? That's what we do. We get sick to, make someone, to poison somebody else. What's the saying? Either way, if you hear noise in the background, I am in New York City, and I haven't had a Blake Lively sighting yet. A boy can dream, but they are installing scaffolding outside my window. That's right. I paid a pretty dime for this beautiful place I'm staying in, and scaffolding doesn't wait for you. So I'm just here to say that if it sounds like a construction site, I'm in it, folks. So there it is. The trial has been delayed. I told you if we hit 100,000 subscribers that I would be there, and I am a man of my word, but it won't be in March. Well, I guess that's nice if it is in May. The trial was supposed to be March 9th, 2026. Civil trial date. Criminal trials take precedent in the jam-packed court system. I guess, so this is interesting. I assumed the trial was delayed because of Baldoni, but maybe it's something else. The Lively vs. Baldoni trial is scheduled to begin May 18th. Looking at the burdens on the judicial process, the judge on Monday ordered the respective legal teams for the Another Simple Favor actress in the Jane the Virgin regular to seek a potential settlement in their big bucks in brazen headlines matter. So as it stands, Baldoni's $400 million countersuit over what really occurred during the making of the Sony distributed movie, an alleged preemptive retaliation against Lively in the lead up to its August 2024 premiere, kicked to the curb earlier this year. Lively is asking for damages in the realm of $500 million to her reputation, brand business, and stress on her and Ryan Reynolds' family. Neither reps for Lively nor the Brian Friedman-led legal team for Baldoni had any comment, but we do have a clip from Baldoni, and I'm going to share with you guys what might be the craziest thing we've seen so far in the Baldoni trial. It is this is like the egos that involved are so crazy. We're going to get into whether Baldoni was part of an acclaimed series or not. I believe he was, and I believe the Google search will back up my case, but it just goes to show the sort of, dick measuring contest that's going on between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, or I should say Ryan Reynolds and Justin Baldoni. So we'll get into that in a second, but how about this? Baldoni, in this court document, you get to decide what you're going to object to, and we have a little bit of objection or a response from Blake Lively, where they don't dispute that Baldoni was in Jane the Virgin, but they dispute that it was a good project. Baldoni is an acclaimed actor, director, and author. And again, this is from Baldoni's side. Before the events giving rise to this dispute, he was one of the stars of the acclaimed Golden Globe-nominated television show Jane the Virgin. He also produced and directed 2 prior feature films, 5 Feet Apart and Clouds, together with CBS Films and Warner Brothers, respectively. So Blake Lively's response, all she has to say is, yep, that's all true. Nope. Can't do it. And again, this is where it really feels like divorce court. It's like, you get the house, I'll take the boat. And it's just like, you try to do something fair. And then one of the parties is like, no, I'm coming for your throat. Blake says undisputed, except as to the characterization of Baldoni in Jane the Virgin being acclaimed. And in the case of Jane the Virgin, Golden Globe nominated, which the cited evidence does not support. Baldoni has written 2 books on gender-related topics, focusing on the question of masculinity and addressing, among other issues, the importance of mutual consent. And so they go on to some other things. But the idea that Jane the Virgin isn't acclaimed is the big dispute, which is hilarious. When you Google or chat GPT what acclaimed, I said, Jane the Virgin, was it widely considered to be an acclaimed show? Critical praise, strong reviews from major outlets, often in the 90+% range on Rotten Tomatoes, praised for its writing, satire of telenovelas, heartfelt storytelling, and unique narrative tone. And also, I was a background artist on the show. No one cares about that. Awards and nomination. Gina Rodriguez won the Golden Globe for Best Actress in 2015. The show received multiple Golden Globe and Critical Choice nominations across its run. So maybe it's that Jane the Virgin, the entire show, didn't receive a Golden Globe, but I would say if the star actor from Jane the Virgin won a Golden Globe for Best Actress, I think that counts as acclaimed, if you ask me. Lauded for its representation of Latina characters and families, frequently cited in Best of the Year TV lists, became a breakout hit for the CW even without massive ratings. So there it is. It says, so while it wasn't a ratings blockbuster, it was absolutely a critical and industry acclaimed series. Case closed, Your Honor. Now, to ask the question about Blake Lively, was she in any bombs? Now, a bomb, I would say a bomb is the opposite of an if you have an acclaimed series, you have a blockbuster bomb. There's the difference, right? So here are the bombs for Blake Lively. Her film, The Rhythm section, was offbeat. You like that joke I just added there? With a budget of $50 million, it grossed only $6 million worldwide. Guys, that's not profit, okay? That's what we like to call in the red. That's widely regarded as a major box office bomb. Her big budget superhero film Green Lantern, though it grossed hundreds of millions globally after its huge production marketing costs, it's often treated as a commercial failure. So there's 2 bombs for Blake Lively. Now you could say, was the movie where she gets stranded on a rock and hunted by a shark a bomb? That's up to you guys. I love a movie like that, but that's up to you. Major bombs by Ryan Reynolds. Throw them in there. Green Lantern, so same as above. They were both in it. R.I.P.D., $154 million budget, grossed $79 million, widely described as a huge bomb. The Change-Up, modest hit versus huge hopes, $52 million budget, grossed $75 million. Oh, okay, that's okay. And then, some other bombs and flops in there. So there it is, folks. But again, Blake Lively accusing Baldoni of being a part of Jane the Virgin, not a critically acclaimed show, according to them. And by the way, this just goes to show the socially economic dick measuring contest. I don't have a better term for it here. The ego measuring contest here between Blake Lively, a huge box office actress, whether she's profitable or not. I mean, Green Lantern. These are huge, big, $100 million projects versus, the CW is small time cable. It's a small, the budgets are very small. I know this. I worked on the show. It actually pays less than a lot of other shows, even within the Screen Actors Guild. They have this weird CW rate. It's a whole thing. So Baldoni certainly didn't make a lot of money on that show, and it wasn't considered a moneymaker amongst the bigger agents in town, because if the show's not making a lot of money on cable TV, then certainly the agents aren't making a lot of money on it. But that doesn't mean it wasn't acclaimed. You can't take that from him. So wild stuff over there. Let's go to one last story we have on the Baldoni front. Here he is. He's never looked younger. Brian Friedman. And what is he? He's in New York City. Brian, call me up. Let's hang out. Although, no, I don't want to be subpoenaed. Here, TMZ tracks him down after the post-discovery conference, and here's what he had to say regarding updates on the Baldoni front.
Wondering, how did it go today?
Great.
Well, how's Justin holding up?
Justin's doing as well as he can, and he's hopeful and looks forward to a positive resolution in the case.
Awesome. So what is next? What are you guys expecting next?
We expect to continue to, move forward with the case, and the judge made some rulings today that he'll make more public, and I'm sure you guys will be first to capture it, because you always are.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, one last thing. So, how's the family doing? Justin's wife, everybody.
They're obviously, they've been through a lot. It's been a very, very difficult year, and he's holding up as well as one can, hold up. And, we're hopeful that when he gets, the right result here, that slowly he'll be back to the great man that he was. And I think he still is a wonderful person, and really meaningful. And it's an unfortunate situation, and it'll be good to get him vindication.
Right. Thank you so much for your time.
So there it is, Brian Friedman. And I know what you're thinking. With the delay in the trial, we're talking 7 more months of this. This is like when the groundhog doesn't see his shadow, and they're like, 7 more months of winter, 7 more months of pre-trial. So it looks like end of May, I'm going to have to come back here. Maybe they'll let me stay at this nice place. Maybe the scaffolding will be done being installed by then, and we'll be here for the trial. But the longer this thing goes on, at first, like earlier this year, I said the longer it goes on, the higher chance I think it goes to trial. I think there may be some fatigue. And when that fatigue hits, both with the parties involved, Blake and Justin, and with the audience, there might be a settlement. And we've talked about what that settlement might look like. A lot of people believe in it, and it might have been our pal Chris from Reputation 911. A lot of people believe the settlement could involve maybe mutually agreeing other people were the problem. So that would be Blake maybe acknowledging that Baldoni wasn't behind the smear campaign, but that the internet was a part of a smear campaign. And then maybe Baldoni acknowledging that he could have been a better director on set. I know that sounds crazy to the Baldoni fans. I know it sounds wild to think he doesn't need to give anything up. They've gone this far. A solution that doesn't burn the bridges of Hollywood would be something, and again, I don't know, when you talk about peace treaties, I don't know how they find that. What would I prefer? I'd prefer it goes to court. I'd prefer that it goes to court. That way you don't get one of those scenarios about like so-and-so was silenced or backdoor deals. That's not like, no, lay it all out there and let a jury decide. That's what I prefer. But what I've learned is even several years after Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, even when a jury decides even unanimously for one party versus another, it doesn't really change the public's perception. So you might have Baldoni saying, look, we've sunk enough money into this thing. Let's ride this pony into the grave. He's got nothing to lose. So the only way that we actually would get a settlement, I believe, is if Baldoni got something out of Blake that uncanceled him from Hollywood. Because you have to remember, Baldoni doesn't work again unless he wins this thing. Because even if he is vindicated, that's how Hollywood works. None of these folks are going to work after this to the extent they would have before. All right, take a quick break. When we come back, I got some other stories to get to here. What's up next? Oh, we'll go to Candace Owens right after this. Ever had that last pair of contacts panic? Now I don't even worry about it because my next set is always on the way from 1-800-CONTACTS. They're the only major contact lens retailer that lets me renew my prescription online so I can get my contacts fast. 1-800-CONTACTS has fast, free shipping and delivers the same contacts my doctor prescribes right to my door. It's totally no risk with free returns and exchanges, plus they offer a best price guarantee. I order online, they deliver for free, and I can even renew my prescription from home. It's simple, reliable, and it saves me a ton of time and frustration. If you hate running out of contacts or having to make an eye doctor appointment every time you're running low, 1-800-CONTACTS is the best solution. They will save you time and money. Getting contacts doesn't have to be a hassle. Let 1-800-CONTACTS get you the contact lenses you need right now. Order online at 1-800-CONTACTS.com or download the free 1-800-CONTACTS app today. You don't have to let big wireless and your overpriced phone bill suck the joy out of the holidays this year, because right now all of Mint Mobile's unlimited plans are 50% off. You can get 3, 6, or 12 months of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. It's their best deal of the year and makes it real easy for you to give your expensive wireless bill the Scrooge treatment. All Mint plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. I use Mint and you should too. No contracts, no nonsense. Turn your expensive wireless presence into a huge wireless savings future by switching to Mint. Shop Mint Unlimited plans at mintmobile.com/TRH. That's mintmobile.com/TRH. Limited time offer, upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required, $15 a month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra, initial plan term only. Over 35 gigabytes, may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. Boy, I could run a channel just discussing Candace Owens. There's so much going on here. Again, she's covered, she's at least alleged a conspiracy around the French president, not just the president's wife, but now an assassination on Charlie Kirk. She believes that they are behind it. She also believes that Turning Point USA is behind it. And now we have Russell Brand, kooky Russell, who, by the way, I can't confirm this, but probably smells like patchouli. I just kind of feel like he smells like patchouli. Either way, here's a clip from Russell Brand where Candace did an interview, and this is after, I believe this was taped after she alleged that there was a $1.5 million assassination hit put on her. Have a listen.
Do you think these things are connected? Brigitte Macron's true identity and Charlie Kirk's murder?
Yes, I think it's all connected. And I think in many ways we already live in this sort of one world government system. Maybe it's two worlds, but in terms of the West, I don't think there's any difference in the governments. And that's kind of the point that we're making, and maybe why the Charlie Kirk case is so crucial, because it's showing us that, wait, what is the divide here between America and Israel and France, right? Somebody in the French government alerted me to an assassination attempt. Shouldn't that require a comment from the President of the United States? It was the most viral global story for 3 days, and the White House has chosen not to comment. What does that signal to the population? That it's okay for France to be involved in assassination attempts? That should alarm people.
Well, again, there's a lot of assumptions being made there. Candace says she texted the FBI. We want to find out if she filed an actual police report. But I do think this is wild. These are wild accusations to make. And I don't know why we've normalized the White House commenting on things like this. While it would be a big story if there was a assassination ordered on Candace, we have other departments, the Department of Justice. We have the Federal Bureau of Investigations. The executive branch, the president, should have bigger things they're working on. We should have, you hear the clanking outside my window? That should be the sound of Donald Trump putting together a healthcare plan. They should be all meeting to, big things, but instead it's like everything's piecemealed. Like, here's a soybean deal. Now we're going to work on, it's like, what the hell's going on? And so Candace thinks she's going to get a response from Trump. You know who has gotten a response from Trump? Marjorie Taylor Greene, which we'll get to in a second. But here's some more on Candace. And by the way, I'm having a hard time sharing this on TikTok. They banned my last Candace video. But here's Kim Iverson discussing, and again, an absolute meltdown in the conservative commentator universe. I'm just adjacent to that as a progressive commentator, and I don't like anyone in the United States. I don't like the world we live in where everyone's attacking everyone, but it's almost like a wildfire was started, and rather than put it out, everyone's pointing fingers at who started it. Tim Pool had an absolute meltdown. I shared that on the video this morning. If you didn't check it out, please. I mean, it took me so long to bleep everything he said. I haven't heard that many swear words in a sentence since like the good old days of Jerry Springer. It was aggressive. So go check that out from this morning's episode. But he had an absolute meltdown, and Candace Owens, her response was like, honey, it sounds like you're stressed out, like really just infantilizing him. Well, here's Kim Iverson calling Tim Pool out for his crash out over Candace in her investigation of the Charlie Kirk murder.
So Tim Pool suffers an absolute brain hemorrhage over Candace Owens and her investigation into Charlie Kirk's death. You think that people who were friends with Charlie Kirk would actually want to see a full investigation and not just buy the official narrative where there was really no investigation. But instead, it's fractured the right, and people like Tim Pool are having an absolute meltdown.
By the way, the narrative that there's no investigation. There is an investigation happening. Again, it's just that they don't announce everything all the time. Do I think the investigation is going great? No, not at all. I don't think anything going on in the Department of Justice or whatever in the State Department. I don't think any of it's operating efficiently. But we don't have to solve these things as YouTubers.
She's ruining everything, and it's going to be all her fault when Republicans lose in the midterms.
If the Republicans lose in the midterms, I believe that Candace Owens is wholly responsible. She is a fucking scumbag, okay? And she's getting worse every day. And she crossed the line. She continually crosses the line every day. At a certain point, I'm like, holy shit. We're gonna lose the midterms. We're gonna lose the midterms. Then we're gonna lose in 2028, and it's because she's a piece of shit. She says the stupidest crap, and now everybody's running around divided and broken.
Where do we begin with this one? He's saying, Candace Owens is to blame, essentially, for the failures of the Republican Party. That it's not all of the failures that have happened since Trump has been elected. People elected Trump hoping for change, right? They didn't want any more regime change wars. What did they get? More regime change wars. They wanted truth and transparency. What did they get? A bunch of lies and cover-ups. They wanted the Epstein files. What did they get? Now Trump saying it's a hoax. It's a hoax. It's a Democrat hoax. More of the same. More of the same. And actually more of the same and even amplified. They wanted to see the end of America's endless wars and support for Israel. And instead, what did we get? Complete support for Israel. It became more.
And it's even worse than that when you factor in the tariffs, which have led to taxes on Americans and the farmers needing a bailout. We're about to go boots on the ground in Venezuela. We're taking away people's due process. I mean, it's bad out there. And in fact, I believe it's worse than a lot of people understand because not everybody is following up on the day-to-day. We knew this was bad months ago. We knew this was bad 6 months ago. And yet people are starting to see that in their bank account, and they're starting to see with the Christmas shopping, boy, our money's just not going as far. Well, a lot of that has to do with the insane tariff policies that literally nobody thinks are a good idea. All right, well, let's move it onto Marjorie Taylor Greene. How about this? We're going to tie it all together. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Trump, Candace Owens, it's all tied together. She says, am I the next Charlie Kirk? I guess because the death threats she's receiving are so extreme from Donald Trump calling her Marjorie Trader Brown because grass that was green is now brown. I don't know. It's a long one.
I've had over 773 death threats that my office reported to Capitol Police and a direct death threat on my son. I would ask anyone to consider, should I have to become like Charlie Kirk? Is that what I have to do?
And I have a big impact on you.
Yeah, and I think that's too much to ask.
And when you told President Trump about this, can you tell us a little bit more about what his reaction was to these threats?
Yeah, it was shocking to me. I sent those death threats directly to him in a text message and informed him of what his name calling and words were doing, the direct result. And it was a direct assassination threat on my son. And he was extremely, I won't repeat what he said, but it was extremely unkind.
All right, so, and here's my, okay, we've got Candace Owens texting the president or texting the FBI. We've got Marjorie Taylor Greene texting the president. Do you guys remember when Barack Obama had to get rid of his BlackBerry because they needed secure devices? And now we live in a world where if you want any help, you have to text the president directly. So, and again, I empathize with Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's essentially upset that she got burned from a fire that she helped start. And again, I understand an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, but that's where we're living. Now, if you're Marjorie Taylor Greene, the more that this affects your family, the angrier you're going to get. She's essentially in the same situation that Tim Walz is in, right? Trump called Tim Walz the R word, and now people drive by Tim Walz's house yelling the R word at him. He has a special needs son. What's so, unnerving about that is Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota. What has he done? Well, he provided universal food programs for kids at school. I mean, he's literally trying to bring people together, and he's in a state that's kind of doing very well. It's great for business. Anyway, the point being is that Trump it's easy for him, when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. It's easy for him to attack others, but it's a lot harder to create something. Where's the fucking healthcare plan?
Well, actually, Wolf, I feel very sorry for President Trump. I genuinely do. It has to be a hard place for someone that is constantly so hateful and puts so much vitriol, name calling, and really tells lies about people in order to try to get his way or win some kind of fight. And I think that's exactly what's wrong in America today. That's what's wrong in this toxic political environment that has ripped our country apart. And I personally think that that's poor leadership from a president. It's a very bad demeanor, and Americans are very tired of it.
So Marjorie Taylor Greene is upset at the name calling, and here we have examples of her following around and taunting school shooting survivor David Hogg on the street, calling him a coward. She harassed AOC outside her congressional office, mispronouncing her name and using derogatory nicknames, Crazy Eyes, Nutty Cortez. Then we have her making a snide comment to Jasmine Crockett by saying, "I think your fake eyelashes are messing up what you're reading." The remark was condemned as personal and by some as invoking harmful stereotypes. So look, it's like, we understand she's on the right side of history now, but she's going to need to do a little bit more, soul searching to understand how she partake. She's going to have to do a lot more soul searching to understand her part in this cesspool that we're in. So, Marge, you want to drain the swamp? First thing you got to do is get out of the swamp. Recognize that you were in it and you were part of it, and you want to be a part of the solution. Keep pursuing that grace. She's almost there. She's on the right path. Sadly, she had to feel a little bit of that burn herself to know that the stove is hot. All right, well, that's it for us. We'll be back this afternoon. So much content to get into. Make sure you're subscribed. We'll see you then. As always, I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.